Hi, this is Yaragamani. I'm a management coach and a trainer. I carry a very vast experience of 28 years in Tata's group and Murugappa group as an operation head and handle supply chain management for quite a long time and also logistics. Uh, and also conducted more than 2,500 hours of training for industrial professionals and also carried out as a visiting faculty to many of the standalone business schools uh, conducting supply chain management just from what to say formalizing the curriculum for them, uh, executing the courses for 30 to 40 hours per course, and with a lot of case studies and other things, and question paper setting, then evaluation of the answer sheets. So these are some of my experiences, and I'm not new to this supply chain and everything because it's very close to my heart. Okay. Now we will see today about the procurement and manufacturing. This is one of the prime and most what to say important in part of this supply chain management process. Here, just to brief you, the procurement is a activity which brings in the required material in any form, maybe raw material or maybe spare parts or assembly parts into the plant, and supports in the conversion activities of the production, and bringing it to what to say on a committed date of delivery. This is one of the main core thing which procurement plays a major role, or you can say a very vital role, okay, in part of ACM. And equally, uh, manufacturing, which takes charge of taking the raw material and other aspects and converting that into a from raw material to a required uh, product which customer really they wants, and they has to be done. And here, one additional thing what we see in part of manufacturing is sustainable manufacturing, or we can otherwise we call as green manufacturing. So basically, green manufacturing is nothing but we are saying, organic vegetables, and organic pulses. So like this, this is a you can call it as organic what is a manufacturing setup. So the thing is, effluent treatment not all properly. It is being customized in such a way that the treatment the waste has been properly treated, and it is being given to the outside in the proper way it has to be done without polluting the land. So that's the thing. And more about this green manufacturing is more about taking care of the environment and other aspects. Very important. So now we'll get into this. So typical supply chains, this starting with purchasing, receiving, storage, operations, and then storage, then distribution. So here you can see two storages in between, that is from receiving and operations one, and from operation and distribution. So here the storage in between the receiving and operation is nothing but the semi-finished products, which is waiting for the further conversion, and storage which just immediately to the operations is what is a product which is ready for distribution or dispatches. So typical supply chain for a manufacturer is comes from supplier. We get raw material and other required parts for the manufacturing activities. Then it is temporarily stored and taken to manufacturing. And after that, the products being produced and it being stored and it is being distributed. And from distributor goes to retailer, and from retailer it reaches a customer. So here the two activities are B2B and B2C, business to business, business to customer. So this is a thing, typical chain like storage. This is particularly for service. Like also for service, that is particularly we call as typically we call as after sales service, where the spare part has to be kept in storage at any point of time, because when the customer wants some material, it should be available. That's the thing. Okay. So need for improvement, supply chain management is improve operations, increasing the levels of outsourcing, increasing the transportation cost, competitive pressures, increasing globalization, increasing importance of e-commerce, complexity of the supply chains, managing inventories. So these are some of the things. And benefits of the supply chain management is lower inventories, then higher productivity, greater agility, shorter lead times, and the thing is higher profits. So lower inventories basically is a very key that we should keep in mind that um, because otherwise what happens, most of the cash or the money is getting piled up there, and further if you want to have something to be put it in operations and need some money for some other thing, so entire not entire, some part of thing gets locked as an inventory, where it is not healthier for the organization. So like we say that no, the body condition is being tested, being said by that whether how fit you are. Like this, when you say an organization how fit the organization is there, it is one of the criteria or one of the major criteria which is being taken in account is inventories which is being managed by that particular organization. Okay, so greater customer loyalty, integrate the separate organization and operating systems. Strategic and operational, two types of decisions in the supply chain management. That is strategic and that is decision and policy. Operational is day-to-day activities. So here, the strategic design policy is basically it is into what to say creating a policy in the supply chain process management process in such a way that how the activities can be executed at any point of time. And in operational, it is a day-to-day activities. In TQM, we say that as daily work management. Okay, DWM. So this is very important. How it is percolates is it starts from the KMI, key management indices, then to the key performance indices, then from key performance indices it comes to key activity indices. So the key activities is nothing but what I say day-to-day activities. So which is to be planned accordingly. So it is like we say no, when the weekly yearly plan we make, then from that we bring into half yearly plan, from half yearly plan to quarterly plan, from quarterly plan to month-wise plan, and from month-wise plan we bring it to what is a week-wise plan, and from week-wise it comes to day-to-day activities and plans. So major decision areas is a location, production, inventory, and distribution. Location here mainly what we think is the geographical location is very important because we should be able to get all mostly the resources, particularly the resources in the sense it is in the form of raw material, or we can get some material from the local market. It should be at the a little bit accessible distance. One second thing is manpower resource. So the area actually there should be where manpower can be brought in to the the working location without much difficulty. Otherwise, we have to spend more time in getting the manpower and other things, and retention is one of the biggest thing. So location plays a very major role in this case. And also there are some areas where we call as ED free zones, excess duty free zones. So where also we can maybe particularly north side there's a lot of such things there in Uttaranchal and other areas. Okay, so these are the things. It's a strategic decision of the organization when they fix the location, and it's very important that we have to consider all the aspects like resources and other things because it is mandatory and is very recommend that we have to have a smooth flow of manufacturing process. So materials movement it is gets from receive and finally move to the work centers. And I think in other terms we call it as shop floors, and it is getting converted and comes to the storage point. So purchasing, what is the purchasing is a responsible for obtaining the materials, parts, supplies, and services needed to produce a product or the service. So purchasing, otherwise initially we talked about the procurement. So now most of the thing is called a strategic procurement, what do you say, international sourcing, like this where a lot of terminology just come. But the basic thing purchasing is what do you say, raw material and other parts which is being required for the manufacturing activity. So this team is responsible for that. So there are purchasing cycle where steps begin the request, the purchase, the notification of the shipment and receipt of the satisfactory condition. So goal of the purchasing, develop and implement the purchasing plans, product and services that supports the operation strategies. So what are the duties of purchasing? What is the activities of purchasing activity? Identifying the source of supply, it's very important that So generally it will be done in such a way that there's evaluation process are there, and once evaluation is being done, they will bring down to the approved supplier list or approved vendor list. So those suppliers only it will be contacted for any other requirements by the organization. So we will see. I mean, a few coming slides we'll be seeing about the evaluation process also. So next is negotiating the contracts, maintaining the database of the suppliers, obtaining the goods and services, managing the. So this is a purchasing interface where purchasing is being interface with the suppliers, operations, legal, accounting, data processing, receiving, and other things. Here the legal is also why we brought in this when the material is being or either it is being imported from the overseas countries or from other areas. There are some legal aspects which has been met. So that means that apart from this GST and other things, so the local laws has to be taken into account when we are doing these activities. That's why the legal comes into picture. Purchasing cycle starts from requisition received. So the person who wants the material, he raises a requisition. Earlier it was done by manual slip, actually it will be there. Today it is done by ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, and, no, popularly no, we use a thing like SAP. So it can be done online, and the approvals also can be done online. The supplier then selected in second case. The third order is placed. The fourth monitor the orders. Fifth receive the orders, and the steps, the procurement steps. Okay, there are 7 steps. Identification of the need of the intender, or the person was given that intent requirement. The supplier identification is a thing, and so because supplier identification here is not the new supplier. See in the list, so which supplier will be suitable for this particular category of material to be purchased in all terms, not only in the pricing terms, also whether he is able to supply the capacity and capability of the supplier basically. So that's been considered. Then supplier being communicated on this, and a negotiation happens. Before negotiation, we get a quote. Some company says that minimum 3 quotes should be required. After negotiation, we release the purchase order, and earlier it was manual. Now today it is through online, then logistics management, then finally the payment to the uh, supplier. Very important thing is payment to supplier should be very taken care because it is a need of the hour which we have to take into more considerations. So purchase order, what are the contents will be there, scope of the work, total amount, delivery date, payment terms, then bank guarantees, currency fluctuations, expediting, inspection and quality, taxes, insurance, LD class, warranty terms, judication. Judication, why judication is required? Because if suppose some ambiguity arises, then which should be the source of judication where this issue is going to be handled. So that also we have to bring in there. It's very important that it should not be taken very lightly. And general terms and conditions. Value analysis is examination of the function of the purchased parts and the materials in an effort to reduce the cost and improve the performance. So centralized was a decentralized purchasing. Centralized purchasing is an activity where it's being handled by one special department. So each and everything for raw material, for packing material, for machines, what is say, maintenance spares, it's all separate inside one roof. There will be a separate team will be identified to do this activity, and centralized purchasing is what is it, highly recommended. But also decentralized purchasing is it is nothing but individual departments, the separate locations handle their own purchasing requirements, because here what the thing is, there will be a mother plant. Okay, and sometime what will happen, the units, the extension units will be a little bit far away from that. So the management will take a decision that better that the independent can be taken care. So for example, what the situation we are talking about here is basically, see if the company is there in Noida or Gurugram, for example, and the unit is being there in Bangalore. So if you have centralized purchasing there, sometimes what will happen, the units people sitting in Bangalore, they may find very difficult for one thing for the coordination. But today coordination is not a big thing. But what will happen, there could be some slight delay, which may be affect the manufacturing process, and finally the delivery commitment cannot be honored. So it depends upon the size of the organization, product is being manufactured, and the management policies. So suppliers. choosing the suppliers, evaluating the source of supplier, then supplier audits. Here supplier audit is basically it is a process audits we do, and also conduct the supplier audits for just see whether their adequacy, that adequacy in the sense whether they are capable to handle all the requirements of the organization, which is the foremost thing which today it is there. And one more thing, this suppliers can be actually they've been called actually as business associates or business partners because they are the extension of your business. So that is the right terminology to be used. Few organizations use that, but still many of the organization use the word supplier terms. Okay, because very comfortable for that. But the right terminology is business associate or business partner. So supplier certification, because here we called as green channel suppliers also there. So it is like when we are going to the airport where when you come from the abroad, something people have some experience that they have green channel, red channel. So similar to that, the green channel supplies is nothing but the supplies comes with what is say. What to say good material, so that this type of grease channel supplies you need not what to say get into the inverting process and quality checking all those things. Directly it can be given to assembly or to the manufacturing activity. So there are some criteria for selecting a, supplier they call it SSC, supplier self certification activities. That's a separate activity. So supply relationships, supply partnership. So that's why I told no. So we have to be like a partners, not like a third person treatment should be there. They should be respected. So factors choosing a supplier is quality and quality assurance, flexibility, because the person should be flexible in the terms of when you give the order. Suppose we are changing the order quantity or we are changing the date, depends upon your customer is asking for, and you should not be very rigid and saying that no, you already given, so I cannot do that. But one thing we should be taken very care that you should not be a regular activity like keep changing things like that, because sometimes no, it disturbs both the supplier as well as the what is a buying organization. Location and price factors choosing the supplier for continued that product service changes, reputation and financial stability. And here why financial stability we are talking about is, suppose if he's not financially sound and is not able to pay his suppliers as well as his employees, then there could be some problem and there could be some delay in getting our material, or sometime it can lead to closure of the operation of the unit, and you definitely what to say the buying operation will be at a big trouble. So that's why these all the evaluation has to be conducted, lead times and on-time delivery and other accounts. So vendor analysis, evaluating the sources in terms of price, quality, reputation, service, evaluating the source of supply. As I told, no, this is a very crucial and very critical one. What are the factors considered is price we should consider, quality we should consider, whether they are able to deliver a quality product, services. That's very important. That so whatever is being committed, whether they are able to deliver it. Location, the location in the sense it should not be too far away. The thing is because if it's as far as possible, it's a close proximity is required, because for any emergency we can take thing inventory policy and flexibility. So vendor selection, uh, first thing is a critical decision should be taken. Find potential vendors, determine the likelihood for them becoming as a good suppliers. So each organization will have a set of criteria and auditing process, evaluating process, and they do carry out they do due regards for this thing, and bring out with a solution, and if found suitable and they will be brought in the list. So vendor development, after that evaluation process, once being identified a vendor, then the next process is training them. It's very important. And engineering and production help, for example, if they are slightly struggling on technical aspects to a certain extent, so we can depute our engineering team or production team to support them. So that's why we call it partnership. These called partnership activities. So establishing the policy and procedure, vendor selection, negotiation, that is cost based price model, market based price model, and competitive bidding. So supplier as a partner, as I told earlier. So there are a lot of aspects as a partner, and which we have to very concern, like length of relationship, reliability, openness, flexibility. Openness, it's not only that we always look for from forward from the supplier. Same reciprocation also should be from the buyer end. It should be like a two-way process. Supply partnership ideas and suppliers could lead to improved compliance. So when we are doing some initial project, or we are doing an initial design activity, it is better to uh, what is say, involve include the suppliers as part of the list, because their ideas and their suggestions could be very helpful and meaningful also. So this, on other terms in design, they call as concurrent engineering. These are the aspects popular part and supply chain strategies. Negotiating with many suppliers, vertical integration, joint venture, credit to sue, and just in time. So many suppliers is for one item we have many suppliers, and for some items we have few suppliers. It once again it's a strategic based decision. So if for one particular thing, if one supplier is sufficient, but sometimes it is very risky also. So once again it depends upon the management to take a call on this. So vertical integration is a backward and forward integration is being considered. Just in time, we know that actually material is being brought to the manufacturing or assembly time just before quite time. Maybe people have some time fixed, just 20 minutes or some 30 minutes before starting everything. Because the ultimate aim of just in time is to ensure that what to say, the inventory is not being piled up in the case, and to avoid particularly to avoid that, and you can see that best can be used. This is a just in time is being used for this what you call as right material at the right time at the right place and the exact amount. So these are things that are required, but just in time activity is not is a very easy activity. It's very challenging, but it takes time. But once it is being set, then it's very much good for that. So inventory turnover basically is a cost of the goods sold divided by the inventory of the inventory. RFID activities just used to trace out the materials where it is, and the truck which carry the material where it is. So the RFID technology is very useful. E-procurement is one other activity where very recent days it is coming up very greatly, this process, and everybody started using this. And it's a direct purchase from the suppliers on the internet. So the direct products go directly into the production process of the product, and indirect products are not. So and reverse auction is also possible by this e-procurement. And today many people are what to say there, and even bidding is possible through this e-procurement activity. So now comes to manufacturing. The thing is what to say. We have to manufacture very globally. That basically into overall goal improvement of the cash flows in the parent firm and maximize the shareholder wealth. Uh, Global manufacturing strategies, setting up subsidiaries versus virtual manufacturing, it depends upon the manufacturing compatibility. What a manufacturing compatibility? Yeah, so it's efficiency, dependability, quality, flexibility, and innovation. Global manufacturing strategies is once again manufacturing configuration, coordination, and control. So global manufacturing strategies, once again, it is a plant location strategies, plant layout and plant strategies. Here we talk about push and pull system. Mostly it is what is say pulls. Preferably we can show that we can go for proactive or reactive accordingly. So global settlement means describes a managed effort to oversee the flow of raw material in the network and suppliers, assemblers, and distributors. So these are all division: buying, making, moving, supplier, and logistics requirements. Already we have shown that, and this is a format which supply chain works. Major entities. So information system is one mega thing that's very important in the manufacturing today. So it is for to coordinate, schedule, and control. Otherwise we call it production. What to say? Planning, production, and control (PPC). And information today we call as IT enabled manufacturing, because ERP and other systems like SAP is very helpful for the people to take up quicker actions, and it is error free. Otherwise, no, if you just go for manual entries or other things, no, it is having a lot of other issues. So that's why I would call that information system role in the manufacturing as IT enabled manufacturing. So here it is integrate demand planning, production forecasting, materials requisition, order processing, and inventory allocation and order fulfillment. So supply networks, meaning of the outsourcing, process of firm having the inputs, domestic outsourcing, then why you should go for domestic outsourcing and why you should go for global sourcing, because depends upon the requirement, the management takes a call or a decision whether you should go for internally or you should go for externally. So based on that it is being decided. Okay, so why we should pursue global outsourcing? Because outsourcing is a strategic decision, because it's a make or buy decision when it comes. So management says that instead of me investing for a temporary requirement or maybe a very short term requirement, I just go for getting the material outsourcing. Or as a strategy itself, continuously I will have a tie up with my partnering company, supplying company. So there I can start doing it. So here what's the biggest advantages? Reduced cost, improved quality, exposed to global technology. That's the biggest advantages. Improve delivery of the suppliers and establish a presence of foreign market. So inventory management. So outsourcing from the world and its impact on the inventory management is a thing. Issues of distance, time, and uncertainty in the foreign environment, just-in-time systems. Sustainability is the thing where actually it is having environmental things and economic and social thing. Three things come into that. It's a planet, people, and profit. So sustainability development is a development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. So basically, it is focusing towards environmental related things. That's the thing. So here we call for this customer demanding for environmental performance. Do you want lower energy? Because energy is a big crisis today, particularly in our country. So it has to be dealt with. So here we, what are the aspect of environmental manufacturing? Important concepts of sustainable manufacturing, clean technologies are the major things. In sustainable technology, sustainable manufacturing, a systematic approach is to eliminating the waste by optimizing the use of selection of the resources and technology, thereby lessening the impact on the environment. That means when you are even treating the effluent treatment, it's very important that we have to see that it is being properly handled, that it is not being just like that. What is say untreated material is being untreated fluid is being given to the outside thing. So it's not advisable at all. So we have to be very careful on that. Sustainable manufacturing also includes the things such as making the products using less energy and materials, producing less waste. Ultimately, the thing is you should have why you have to have this production less waste is that environment should not be affected. So eco-friendly. So green products, a green product that can be produced that is designed to reduce the environmental impact. So that means the key concept is environmental concerns from the beginning of the product design process. So we have to take care of particularly in the design stage itself. It's not about what you are talking about other activities. It is particularly about taking care of the activity and the design stage itself, because we know how much of what is say, scrap generation is going to be. That we can do that. This is about sustainable manufacturing practice, and this is a journey how it goes. So the thing is, remember there is no such thing in as a company with no environmental impact. So there is no sustainability destinations. So company has to be very focused on having the sustainability destination. It's very important. Raw material substitution, yeah, it's very important, because when we can think about raw material substitution, uh, because hazardous materials or chemicals which is being comes in contact with a human being or with the product, or finally when the product being used in some assembly in a critical situation like space and spacecraft or something like that. So it has a big impact. So the raw material substitution has to be thought beginning of the stage. That means during the designing of the process or designing of designing of the product and designing of the process both. So that is the thing is taken care of at most case. So what is the relation between the lean and the green? So lean is talks about the waste. The green talks about reducing the what is effect on the environment by thereby reducing the what is say raw material wastages and other processing waste basically. So this is about lean waste is about defective products, overproduction of the components, then waiting. So anything waiting is a waste. So that way we classify as a waste. Other thing is unnecessary transport of the motion, excess inventory, extra processing, as we called as in lean management as seven waste, and there is one more eighth waste is there is called as unutilized resource. Suppose if you're having a resource, you're not being properly utilizing them, and that is also now the management expert says that it is a waste to the organization. So quickly we'll see about the KD. It is done in one of the ceramic industry. The ceramic means engineering ceramics industry, where this applied to many of the engineering industries because ceramic is having a very bigger advantage. This is one of the case study which was guided by me during my consultancy period very recently in one of the ceramic based industry in Chennai. Okay, so here what they done basically they have is what is it? Okay, let us see how it goes. So these are the products which they are supplying to the customer. This is a vacuum interrupter. The outside white sheet, white color thing, see that is a ceramic cylinder. And these are their customers: ABB, Crompton Greaves, Schneider Electric, Siemens, Eaton, and the process flow. And this is a molding press where they press the what is it, silicon oxide material. It will be in a very powder form, and further they will be molding it. So this is a molding sack or a molding setup, tooling setup where inside this ceramic powder is being put, and a compaction happens in the machine, in the hydraulic machine. And these are the final products which you are seeing as a different types of sizes of cylinders which is being used. So this way the process happens. Seal and then a pin is there, and the support bag is there, and what is say finally inside that powder is being filled, that is raw material, and the lid is being closed and is ready for compaction. This way the product will look like a cylinder. So this is a way the IT another model of step cylinder, that is in ID there will be a internal diameter, that will be a step will be there. It is for a different customer which they are manufacturing, and this way it is being done. So what is the problem faced? What why they have to do it? So it's a single mold, and for example, there are two setups has to be made. As you see this, what is the tool setup? One for the plain cylinder, another for the step cylinder. Step cylinder means in the ID internal diameter. So two setups has to be made. Then the manufacturing has to happen. When you want to do the setup, that means it takes 2 to 3 hours minimum to do the setup and mounting on the machine. Then finally starting the production process, completing the process, then removing the tool from the setup. That is another bigger activity which you have to do. So this was a bigger thing, and because of what was happening is they are not able to match the cycle time, because this particular machine, this particular process of molding the piece is the first stage, and this is the company which is supplying, they call that hydraulic machine as a pacemaker. The pacemaker means that is a heart of the heart core of the first initial process, because if that machine doesn't functions, then entire cycle, it is a 14 stage process. Okay, the entire cycle chain will get supply chain will get affected. So that's why they took this as a particular thing, and we came out successfully. How we'll see this? So less productivity, delay in delivery, capacity loss, and sustainable manufacturing. So sustainable manufacturing was biggest issue there. And before tool design, it was like this. And now what happened? The combination happened. That is the basic cylinder and the step cylinder put together, bringing it to one particular tool. And what is it? The idea is thing is basically, if you have one mold pin, then we can quickly we can uh, produce the material from that, and we can close up. And another very important thing is the two setup was setup 1 and setup 2 for plain cylinder, and for the step cylinder has been done. So three almost it takes 3 to 4 hours for setup. So mainly the next 3 hours of setup is completely eliminated, not reduced, eliminated. And the thing is the production also in one setup both the production can happen. And according to the requirement, if you want plain cylinder, we can just with the one setup, then we can trim it and take the plain cylinders separately and what is the section separate. We'll see how it is being done. After tool design, the thing is what the pin you are seeing, you can see it's a common pin where we have steps. So when you mold this and take it, then we can have, okay, this way the new design looks, and powder gets filled inside, and the lid comes over that. So how the part is like having the steps. So what the thing is, in the steps, no, the bottom one will be the plain cylinder, and top one will be what to say, with the lintel diameter. So accordingly we can just trim it to the length what we are required, and we can use it. So what's the benefit is, in one setup we are getting your product. That product can be cut to the size and used for different various usages. So the power uh, used for two stage process is eliminated into one stage, one single stage. So this is before project model comparison, that is after project. So design comparison, before project the spin is like this, and after the project it is having a deeper step which is there, which and even in the PU sac, PU nothing but polyurethane sac. That is outer thing just to ensure that things are intact. That is when the powder is being filled, should be intact. So that's why this polyurethane, it's a part of the setup. So the polyurethane sac and the pin goes together. So this way, the initial before the project, the end product will look like this in the left side, and on the right side, this is after improvement or after project. This will be steps in there. So the basic thing is, what the thing is, in between that, then people can, there's a step is there. No, the step we can just try to actually the step is there, and here out of the size they can just cut to the size here, and the bottom one can be used, the bottom one can be used for plain cylinder, and the top one can be used for the step cylinder. So that's the biggest thing. Then the powder is saved. You can see what are the things. Trials is being conducted, ensure that quality is being, because whenever we go for an improvement, we have to see that things are validated, that in the quality front, whether it is better, that it doesn't have an impact on the customer side. And these are the tooling and production systems, and this is the results. So the productivity, 500 to 1000, it is gone after this improvement, that is 100% improvement. And molding time, monthly target is from 18 to 9, so that is a 50% reduction. Powder consumption, earlier it was 5.1 kg, this is brought down to 2.5 kg, where a 50% reduction. And power consumption was higher, and it was reduced. So cost saving is almost 40 to plus lakh, 40 lakhs plus thing which we get annually. What are the tangible benefits? As you told, productivity is increased by 100%. The direct uh, cost saving per annum is 42 lakhs. Manpower is reduced, and power consumption reduced by 25%. Molding time is reduced by 15 minutes. Okay. Uh, Associated with this, we have reduced recycle. Is very important, where the source reduction is being done, because source reduction is nothing but the thing, what is say, either in the process or during the beginning of the design stage itself, we have to see that uh, what is say, this activity is being taken care of. That. So that means the solid waste management has been taken at the utmost care. So, and when you say what is say, what is waste? Basically, it is reduces water and air pollution, waste and food, and conserves resource and energy. Today, energy conservation is very very important, because we are in a very tight situation in the country. So it's not, there's no problem point in blaming the government only, and it's also our moral responsibility to see that how far we can bring what do you say, optimize the usage of resources. So source reduction and source reduction are reduced. The preferred method is prevent the generation of waste in the first place. Why we should generate a waste? Then further we have to do something. Sometimes when you have the waste, then further we have to recycle it. I mean, do a recycling. We are using power to that and using manpower to that. This is all extra activity. It doesn't add value to your process. So manufacturer decrease the materials, reduce usage during the manufacturing distribution. Consumer the purchase items with the minimal packaging, avoid the disposable products. Reuse That means even for example, if you take packing material, we can talk to your customer and check that whether it can be what to say. They can send back the material and they can use this. Two advantages in this. One thing is that the disposable will be a big headache for the what is a person who is buying, and you should not go against the environment just throwing some material like plastic related things. And very important thing is that when the material comes back, then you can use it and for the next occasion of packing and sending. But only challenge would be there how to get the material from the customer. Okay, once you set the process for that, then things is we cannot worry about that. Only see, because anything if you want to get some bigger benefit, no, say a lighter smaller thing efforts we have to take. We cannot say that I need a bigger benefit. Okay, I need a bigger benefit, but I will not do any efforts, so it's not possible. So when you want to get some 90% of the benefits, 10% of efforts going inside is not, it's no issue at all. So that's why you can recycle your what to say, packaging material. So that's why we talk about recycle here. And what to say, waste recovery process very important. That for example, if you have some heating chambers and furnaces, so a lot of waste will be there in the during the process. Instead of that, we can just attach yeah, what to say, a pipe from there, and you can take it to another stage where this heat can be used. So this heat can be used for any subsequent process or any other different activity where it can be used effectively, and that thereby what happens is the natural resource or waste which goes in the form of the heat can be recovered and can be used in a different thing. So we can have a better environmental and economic cost because of this. So waste thing is how to landfilling has to be taken care. Landfilling today it is also happening that a lot of people know they don't take care of the thing, and in many of the borders of the states, particularly people we are seeing physically, it is very disheartening to note that a lot of medical waste is being just like that thrown, and it is, people go for that. And today what happens now, we talk about this 1 or 2 days, after that we forget about that. So we should not do that. You should have the moral responsibility of properly disposing the material. What are the material? It is a medical waste, or it may be a solid waste, any form of waste. Thank you very much. Thanks for the patient listening for this. I hope you would have understood about procurement activities, how it is being done, what are steps in the procurement activity, and what are the contents should be there in your purchase order. And if you want the selection of the supplier, the business partner, supplying partner, how you should do, what are the evaluation methods for that, is very important for that. And see that, and very primarily, when you buy the material, all those things, we should keep the inventory at the minimum level possible, and we should do a proper what is it, planning and scheduling activity accordingly. You see that over inventory is not being done and is taken care. And to avoid this type of things, just in time can be think and considered with the due importance, which will support you in bringing down your inventory to the greater extent. Okay, so another thing is we talked about is SSC, supply chain, what to say, supply self certification activity. That means green channel suppliers. So bigger advantages. Once initially you want to train the people and do a process study and checking, and intermediate audits could be sufficient. So thereby what will happen is the quality assurance teams will have some spare time to take care of the improvement activities. So qualification activities today, people what they do, literally what they do inspection activity. It totally doesn't add value to your product which you are going to do. So instead, the role of the QA should be in terms of improving the process, improving the product quality. So that be the case. So when we empower and we can train the your what is a supplying partner, so in due course you will get used to that, and you will supply a good product and directly can sell it to the